about how, well, right now the media has no room for this subject
Exactly.
because so many other things are going on in our society that this is sort of like swept under the rug. And in the Black community, both you and I know that sexual diseases are not discussed at all. And I personally feel that it has taken a great toll on our society, definitely our community, because if you don't talk about it, you can't do anything about it. We have our young men who are incarcerated. I have a relative, by the way, who was incarcerated for a number of years, came home and just proceeded to go on with his lifestyle with his now girlfriend. And she wants to become a parent. Now, whether he's been tested or not, I highly doubt. So we have a lot of people who just don't know their status. They're walking around without the proper information. They don't know. It's not that they want to give it to someone else, they just don't know that they have it. You know, so I think personally that we need to, we hear the numbers constantly, but that's not enough. We got to get the picture of this. This is why I'm having this show today, so that we can get an idea that you can live with this disease, providing you have the proper information. Now, a lot of women, and I have girlfriends myself, are having unprotected sex, okay, daily or nightly or whatever, and they don't know what their partners are doing, and they're afraid to ask the partners to go get help or to be honest with them, you know, because this is such a big secret in our society and what do you think about that?
I think it's criminal, and I think it's criminal on both persons. I think it's a lack of responsibility. Mm-hmm. It's a lack of responsibility on the male and female, okay? Because if someone has been incarcerated for a number of years, it's incumbent on both of them to be responsible. Mm-hmm. Have you been abstinent for 5-7 years, even if you're female? Mm-hmm. Has the male been abstinent? Mm-hmm. You don't know. So it's incumbent that both persons be tested.
Right. And we need to really be more honest with each other too.
Exactly.
We need to talk about things, and especially when it comes to your life. You just got to ask, and we have to be strong as females, particularly, and males, to just say no. Just say, I don't feel comfortable with this right now. Mm-hmm. Can we discuss it a little bit further? Can we both go get tested?
Sure.
You know, it's really taking its toll on our society and our culture, for sure.
And it's taken more of a toll on the Black and brown communities, mm-hmm. because the numbers are continually rising. Mm-hmm. They just changed in Los Angeles County that there are now more Latinas are being infected. It's risen, okay? And these are just recent figures, mm-hmm. okay? The Black and brown communities are still overwhelmed with this disease.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that we oftentimes don't have proper insurance? What's going on? I mean,
it's the fact of not having the proper information. When we want to get anything out to our communities, just let's talk about a real sore subject, and it's the war in Iraq. Mm-hmm. Okay, it was on the news constantly, all day, every day. Bush pushed it, and you know, there's weapons of mass destruction. Well, we have weapons of mass destruction right here in our community, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. and that's having unprotected sex. And we have to remember one thing: this is a male-driven disease.
Okay.
It's very difficult for a female to infect a male, okay. because of the route that it has to go. Not impossible, not impossible, likely. But the possibilities of infecting reversed is the probabilities are very low. It's still a male-driven disease. And we also get this from how we were taught, okay? Especially in the black and brown community. First of all, we don't talk about sex. You just have sex.
Right.
Okay? When you're incarcerated or when you're whatever, you do what is necessary. And as I explained to you earlier, this is something I would get I would have people to look at me very askew when I would say, okay, we have food, drink, and sex. Those are built into us.
Right.
We cannot live without those first two. But sometimes we need so much validation that we have sex before we have food or water.
So we make sex number one instead
That's
of
right.
number three.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are
that's-
needy, and we
we
are needy.
are needy.
We're pretty
are
much
so
a needy
needy.
society too, for
Yes.
sure. That's interesting. We had spoke earlier about what kind of advice would you give to a person who feels that he or she may have this, and you mentioned that you would like to urge
Right.
opposed to advice, and I respect that.
Yes.
How would you urge a person? Because again, people are so afraid of this, and they would rather walk around in denial opposed to doing some of the things that you had mentioned. How would you urge that person?
I would urge people to get someone that they trust. Someone that's very close to me. It can be a family member, it can be a friend, it can be a boyfriend, be a girlfriend, whatever. But someone that they can feel comfortable and tell them what they are exploring, what they're about to do, what their fears are, and that what they know, that I might have been infected because of my behavior. Okay, I know we use that word very loosely these days,
Right.
but if you have unprotected sex, you are leaving yourself open for some 25 STDs. And
In
it's
addition to?
In addition to the HIV virus, which all travels the same route.
Well, I've talked to a lot of people who tend to feel that because they've been with the same partner for X amount of years that they're okay. You know, they say, well, I've only been with one person and that's it. So they're downplaying the whole unprotected sex thing, I guess, because well, no, I've only been with my husband. You know, so I don't need to. I'm not a drug addict. I'm not gay. That whole thing. I mean, people still think that it's a gay disease. You know, so yeah. Well, anyway, I'd like to thank you for being here.